Well, they did it. No longer the worst basketball team in Power 5 history. Power 6, Power 5, whatever era you want to call it. They finally won an NCAA tournament game. No matter the seed, it was always going to be, you know, something that we would be proud of. Winning a game. And just nothing can take that away from us. We finally have won a fucking game. We even won two of them. But it has always ended with goddamn Iowa. But whatever. It's fine. They lost in the next round, so who cares? But Nebraska men's basketball has always been a begrudging watch for me. My viewing started after Tim Miles got fired. I never really paid attention to the college basketball scene until 2019. I was like, okay, we got this new coach, formerly of fired NBA. Who cares? Whatever. It's certainly much higher pedigree than the other coaches. And, scrolling through the Wikipedia page, it's just like, there really isn't too much here. Former NBA coach? Sure. And we shit ourselves in that first season. 7 wins. I'm like, oh. That was some horrendous basketball. It really was. It was something that you just think, gosh, I feel like I could play better than some of these guys. Like, what are we doing here? They couldn't match shapes against, you know, teams that are just not it. Losing games to North Dakota, losing to teams that most people have never heard of. It just was bad. And then we head to the tournament, Big Ten tournament, lose in the first round. Our coach gets influenza, whatever, and shuts down the entirety of college basketball. So that was always, that was very interesting, losing the first fucking game. The next season, we also win 7 games. They're like, oh, well, I mean, it's an improvement. There was considerably less games in the season, so, winning percentage, we won more games, so good job. I had to resort to scheduling Doan for one of those. Or was that the 10-win season? I don't remember. I just remember one of those games, one of those seasons, we had to schedule Doan. And then the next season, we get an NBA prospect and his brother. And we win 10 games, which a goddamn miracle, winning those final 3 regular season games. Like, wow, you can actually win games against ranked teams on the road. Incredible wizardry. I've never seen anything like that. Winning multiple games in a row against non-bottom feeder teams. Wow, impressive. And then the next season is even better. 500. A turnaround that, most people weren't really necessarily caring for. I mean, the only thing that people knew was Tominaga. That was always fun to watch him just shoot the basketball. Achieving 500 was, even though it technically was still, below what the final season of Tim Miles' was, you just, it wasn't, it felt like the team was better overall in terms of, I always felt like the coaching was always better, but getting players to come here was only on the basis of playing time. Playing time. You get a shit ton of playing time. And in this recruiting cycle, that's still it. You will get a shit ton of recruiting, shit ton of time coming to play here because we do not have players. Okay, we have the concept of players. We do not have many players. Okay, and that continued into the next season where we finished second in the Big Ten. Like, oh shit, we actually. I mean, it was a down year for the Big Ten overall, but hey, we finished second. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, that's cool. Get into the NCAA tournament as an 8 seed because again, no one trusts us. Remember Iowa baseball from last season where they finished, was it second or third it was third in the conference and had like a metrics of the size of a team that finished 11th this year. Well, that was basically that. No one trusted us. Head to the first round, shit ourselves against Texas A&M, the same team that stole our fucking athletic director, which, good, fuck them. And then last season, that was a down season. That was the first down season in this, rocket trip. We technically finished with, a similar record, but the end of the regular season, we missed the Big Ten tournament in a insane 5 or 6 way tiebreaker. We were on the ass end of somehow, and that was that. We needed to win one more game. We needed to win against Iowa in our final game of the year. Couldn't beat them. That was even without that was without the new coach that just led them to the Elite Eight. Like, we couldn't beat him. Like, what? They still fired their coach. But we knew that there could, after winning the CBC, and it was just like, okay, well, we won another postseason tournament. Our illustrious history still does have us as a NIT champion at one point. That's always something. It's back when the NIT actually kind of mattered. It's just like, okay, cool. We have a trophy to put on the wall, add on to the mid-season trophies or whatever. But coming into the season, again, nobody had expectations. And obviously the expectations weren't really going to change until we played actual opponents. And that's what Oklahoma was. Now, Oklahoma is, well, our bitter rival from the Big 12 days. But in terms of the SEC, they are kind of there. They're apparently so bad that they didn't even make it to the NCAA tournament. They had to go through the CBC. They eventually lost the CBC to West Virginia. So, Big 12 teams winning it. Woo. They didn't make it. They made it there, and we just out-offensed them. The defense wasn't there, sure, but our offense was absolutely there. In any effort, to score, this is a reminder, this was 4 days after only scoring 69 points against Maryland Eastern Shore. You want to know where Maryland Eastern Shore finished? 6th in the MEAC, lost in the first round of the tournament for the MEAC. Had fucking 9 wins on the season. Count them. 9. 9 wins on the season, and 2 of them were lower division opponents. Yeah, so beating Oklahoma on a neutral site, that felt good. But then going into the next tournament, the tournament of, what was it called? What the fuck was it called? Hall of Fame Classic? Sure. I don't know. Beat New Mexico despite the fact that New Mexico was trying to kill some of our players. Frager definitely, getting on its own. What was it? We knew last season for... Yeah. Then going into was basically K-State's home and beating them. Now, a 1 point win over K-State is certainly not something, considering that they finished 12-20 and finished 15th in the Big Ten and Big 12. Three wins. They finished with a season that would rival our 2019-20 season, but they won too many non-conference games, so it doesn't count. But then from there on out, we just swept through some bad teams, including Creighton. We beat Creighton more convincingly than two Big South teams. And you're just sitting there going, okay, well, we're 9-0. Like, cool. We have the funny nation's longest winning streak at 13 because of the last season. It's like, okay, well, we're finally getting into two conference games. I don't know, Chief. I don't know. It's at home against Wisconsin, but Wisconsin is always a boogeyman. They always have just something up their sleeves against us. But then they just didn't show up. They had one guy show up, and that was it, and we win by comfortable margin to go 10-0. You're like, oh, that's sick, 10-0. You love to see it. But now we have fucking Illinois on the road, and you're just like, ugh, well, we're gonna have to rely on some massive carry jobs, and Samford did that pretty well. 32 points. That's pretty good. I think most of that was in the first half. But we got almost no other production outside of the Samford Mass Lawrence, except for one man, the guy that nobody really knows or cares for, Jared Garcia. He somehow popped off with 10 points in that game, and that was very crucial. We needed all those 10 points, and then also were able to gather a win. Now, we could have won this game by a lot more if the refs weren't trying to make Illinois look great. This is a theme that we have to contend with later. So 10-0, and then headed to 12-0 after beating up on some other teams. Now we have to face, in a quick turnaround, Michigan State at home. Mind you, we do not play this Michigan State team again, and this would eventually be the tiebreaker that we have over Michigan State. So we desperately needed to win this game in hindsight, and we certainly did. It was a very, very massive defensive struggle, which isn't really a surprise considering that the entire point of Hoiberg's scheme is defense, and offense can just kind of be there, I guess. Not a whole lot of nonsense in this game. We're starting to figure out that Butengel is just not that, but Frager is just better off the bench. So whatever, man. Whatever. That's fine. What was it? Samford got into pretty massive foul trouble. 5 fouls in 20 minutes, and we still won because Mast is good enough. He takes 13 threes, but makes 6 of them, so it doesn't matter. Michigan State just can't hold on, and in a game in which we were actually favored against a top 10 team, we still won. Wow, we beat Tom Izzo's team? Okay, that's something we couldn't do in the past. So then afterwards, there was a bit of a close shake against Ohio State, go down massively against Indiana, but then beat the crap out of Oregon and Northwestern. Washington, there was a little sus there. I don't understand some of the ref decisions there. Minnesota, sort of the same, but we won by a crap ton, so whatever. And that brings us to 20-0. Everyone's like, oh, wow, 20-0? I mean, they've actually beat a lot of Big Ten teams. So, like, okay. They're actually, good. That's surprising to me. And, it's the same to me. Like, nobody that knew what the Nebraska team was thought that they were going to actually, you know, do something. I mean, we had very, very low expectations. It's more of the fact that we had been rising, but then last season we just took a dip, and it's like, okay, well, all right, if he has the best boys out there, then sure, but it'll be rough. It'll definitely be rough. But the non-conference was easy enough to give us a little bit of a confidence boost, to get us into there. But now we had the toughest game on our schedule, which would be Michigan on the road. And nobody gave us a chance, and I really don't blame them. But pulling up with a 50 spot in the first half, like, wow, okay, this game is just going to be an absolute shootout. But then, 22. 22 points in the second half. A lot of fuck shit with the refs once again. I really don't understand some of the stuff. It probably doesn't help that we just couldn't make a shot in the last couple, but when you're dragging Jacobson out there to start and you have like a literal 7-man squad against a team that has like 4 NBA first round picks, only losing by 3, like that's not terrible. You're basically just force feeding the ball to Lawrence and Sanford and see what the hell they can do. Thankfully, Sanford did not get into foul trouble, but pretty much everyone else on the roster did. And just having to use Curtis for like the only time in this entire, mind you, he got more minutes than he did against the likes of UMass, New Hampshire, North Dakota, and West Georgia. He got more minutes in that game against Michigan. 13 fucking minutes. Like that is that what that's unheard of for him. He does not get minutes. 3 for 4. I mean, we're going into next season. He will be a decent project. He always was going to be a project from Iceland. I mean, I don't know many Icelanders who can pop up with a 7.2, but he needs more. He needs more weight, and just like, okay, so we only lose by 3 to one of the best teams in the country at their own house, with a team that was without Frager, Mast, and really anything sensible of a shot from Butengel. Like, okay, cool. I'm still mad about that game. I really wish that we could pay our refs full time. I wish we could, do something about that, but whatever, it's fine. But the crash out was definitely coming after that game. A loss at home against Illinois meant we'd go 1-1 in a very odd way. About beating Rutgers on the road, but Rutgers is always a boogie team for both basketball teams. And then losing at home against Purdue, like, that sucks. But we massively came back in that game. The thing is that even with all this dumb shit happening, they still were fighting and clawing their way into these games. It's just like, there's, always going to be a couple plays that kind of, fuck us over. And, that just ends it. Yeah, that was the game, I'm pretty sure, when, he slipped. So, that incident. Anyway. So, no, it was Iowa, I don't remember. Then beating Northwestern again. I mean, I don't know how Northwestern does it, but Martinelli kid just keeps popping up everywhere, even though he only had like 11 points. But yeah, Samford, another legacy game, and just losing at Iowa. The thing, like that, getting court storm for the first time was certainly something. I guess I don't know. It it happens, I guess. It happens. Who cares? Whatever. You're gonna lose those kind of games. You just need to make up for them by winning 3 straight, and then by far the worst loss of the season. You know, worst loss in terms of like analytical standpoint. Just getting absolutely shit on by UCLA. And I know, no team was really ever perfect on the trip out to the West Coast. From what I remember, Michigan, well, the only team that was perfect was Michigan. Well, no. Michigan had Michigan had the easier of 2 teams. There's only like one team that had a perfect one against the California teams, or they might not have been, I don't know. But just like losing that game in a pretty horrendous fashion. It turns out that UCLA is just, besides football, was the team that kind of just irked at us. In the other sports, if you remember, women's volleyball, they were the only team to actually take a set off us. It's just like, okay. But, beating Iowa in an overtime at home, that's good. And the wheels kind of fell off for them in overtime, but that's not a surprise. It's whatever. But heading into the Big Ten tournament once again as a second seed, a pretty distant second seed, as the other team was already well and away the winner by the end of it. Yeah, it's very similar to baseball for some reason. Going into the tournament, we would have to play Purdue again. This is again our own fault. If we had beaten UCLA or beaten Purdue, we would have been able to avoid Purdue, but we didn't. And Purdue was a lot more hungry to try and get a Big Ten championship after the pretty disastrous end to their season, losing 4 of 6. So like, it's just like that happens. Whatever. They would go on to win 30 fucking games and only lose in the goddamn Elite Eight, which, whatever. They faced a softball schedule, but you're going to have to give them credit for doing at least something. But as for us, we would be heading into the NCAA tournament with, again, not a whole lot of momentum. Like, we would, what would it be? Like 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, 1-3, 2-3, 2-4, 3-4, 4-4, 5-4, 5-5, 6-5. Like, we'd be 6-6 headed into the NCAA tournament after starting the season 20-0. Which, again, I would happily shake your hand for a 6-6 at the end of a season, because I mean, like, 6 wins. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. All right. We actually consistently can beat the shit out of these teams. Beat USC. That's something, I guess. But drawing Troy just like brought back memories that I didn't want to remember for football reasons. If you know the pain. So drawing them just brought back bad memories. I don't really know what else it could be. Troy, if we're going to look at Troy, they benefited massively from a shakeup of the Sun Belt conference tournament schedule. They won the conference despite finishing 12-6. They had more losses despite 2 less games than us. So, and like below them was a 6-way tie for second place. One of the teams had to like play pretty much all the rounds or whatever. it was not a fair ladder bracket tournament. It's a detractor for anybody that's a ladder bracket enthusiast. And Troy was just able to win like 2 games, like literally just 2 games against the 8 seed and the 10 seed. Like what? They're not even the teams that finish in curse way high, bro. But when we got to the game and then popped out with a 9-4 start because of course we were still able to eventually get ourselves controlled the game by the end of the first half and then just go out and win. A rare sight for Nebraska is taking advantage. Remember, we have lost as a higher seed before to fucking Xavier. Like we've lost these games before. It's not like we haven't been relevant like this in the past, but this time we were able to get the all important W for the first time in quite some time. And then in the next game, like holy shit, we actually won again. I mean, we were with like an inch or two away from losing that game. Like that half court heave, I still have chills about. Like that would have been the most Nebraska thing to ever happen, but nope, it was the most Vandy thing to ever happen. Vandy also had a pretty dadgum good season. I mean, 5 seed for a program that's pretty relevant. Like hell yeah, that's always good. It's just unfortunate that both of them had to play each other. We get the win. We get a win over an SEC team. Like, fuck yeah, that's what you like to see. I can't really tell you any of the individual stats other than just everyone equally contributed. Curtis was out on the court for some reason for 2 minutes. Thank goodness we had no injury problems at this time. Again, the only real season-ending injury was Esijan. Like, that was it. So, thank goodness. Hopefully he'll be back, I guess. But in our final game, we hold a lead for most of the match and then shit it in the final moments to lose to goddamn Iowa. And in this game, Joe was actually sort of helpful. 10 rebounds, like, okay, if he can make a shot, that'd be nice, but that's not his game. It's not any of these idiots' games. But the last couple of minutes were just... woof. Those were just not. The momentum graph just doesn't compute with any of that, and just losing to fucking Iowa like again, like ugh, it just hurts. But thankfully they lost to Illinois. We would have probably lost to Illinois anyway. Making it to the Elite Eight would have been nice. But yeah, that was that. A 28-7 season. Dream season, always with an asterisk because fucking losing to Iowa twice. But no matter what, we've never gotten this close to 30 wins, and I'd imagine I don't know if we get that close this upcoming season. I mean, I think we've gotten better, but a lot of this season was a good amount. Like there were moments where the dice definitely rolled the wrong way, but we were still able to get wins. But there were also a lot of moments where we would have probably not won if we, hadn't won a roll of a dice. Just it was the first. This is the first season in which I could take for granted some games. Like during the Penn State game, instead of even bothering to watch it, I was sitting right next to one of my relatives in a nursing home. He was watching the game, but it was on mute or whatever. And I was just chilling with him, my grandma and mother. He would shortly pass away after that. I always remember that. Just like, damn, really? That kind of sucked. What was it? The funeral was then, yeah. But yeah, it was the first time ever that I could take for granted games that we could win. Like I wasn't sweating any of the games against like Maryland, Penn State, whatnot. You know, you just expected them to win those games, and that was a rarity for me. For me and the entirety of this basketball fan base, like taking for granted that we could, actually beat Oregon by 45. Like, okay, cool. That's amazing. I love this. I would love for more of that, but going into next season, we do have a somewhat harder schedule. I already forgot exactly what the schedule is, nor do I nor 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 do I really care, but I'm just gonna go with it. We did suffer one injury in this good old preseason. Was it some Rice? I don't know. Um, but yeah, if we go to the schedule, right, we start our season with we play BYU again in an exhibition, but we also play St. Louis. That'll be a fun match. Uh, Providence. What is this? No, that says all games. Right, it doesn't have all of them. Like there's a Providence, there's a Boise State, there's a Butler, there's a Mizzou. All those are neutral site games. That'll be a good spread of matches. I mean, if you remember, Boise State and Butler 2 years ago were in that CBC, and Missouri. Always fun to have a go against Missouri. Um, yeah, that'll always be fun. Although the Providence neutral site, that's totally like a Providence home game because that's in fucking Connecticut. It's kind of the same ordeal with the Sanford Pentagon or whatever. Um, Next season I don't expect 28 wins, but I don't know. I expect okay finish in the top 8 of the Big Ten. I guess I don't know. I'm not gonna set the bar too high. We're not to the point where we have to finish top 2 in the conference. Finishing top 2 in the conference 2 of 3 years, like that's pretty cool. But the season in between we finished 16th, so yeah, just a little bit of a swing. I might have a little bit of a swing. So just keep the expectations relatively low, but they don't have to be bottom floor, which is nice because we'll get Sanford back. We'll get some other returning guys coming back. Lawrence is a lawsuit pending if he'll be able to come back. 5 for 5 rules. He's played 4 years. Technically, doesn't count for him, but whatever. Um, we'll see how that goes. And yeah, got some other shit to do, but yeah, the season was fun. I would never have imagined this, but I'm excited for next season. That's a rarity. Can't wait for next season. See y'all then. Goodbye.